Hi guys, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at the reflex arc. Now, some of our responses to stimuli are automatic, and these automatic responses to stimuli are called reflexes. What you'll notice is that the processing of reflex is very similar to how our central nervous system works. We still have receptors sending an impulse along the sensory neuron to the coordinator, which will pass an impulse along the motor neuron to the desired effector, whether that be in a muscle or a gland. But there is something different in a reflex with the coordinator. Rather than the conscious part of the brain coordinating a response, this is now done by the relay neuron. So that we are avoiding the conscious part of our brain. And this makes reflex responses much faster. Well, let's take a look at what happens. For example, we have receptor cells in our skin, and if we was to touch a hot object, I've just used a flame here, but if we was to touch this hot object, the receptors would detect that stimuli. There's a change in our environment. An electrical impulse would be passed along the sensory neuron. It would go to our relay neuron, which is in the spinal cord, or in the unconscious part of our brain. An electrical impulse will then travel along the motor neuron to the effector, to our muscles, making us move our finger out of the way. So these muscles would contract. But if we take a closer look at the relay neuron, you should be able to notice that between the relay neuron and the sensory neuron, there is a very small gap. There's also a gap between the relay neuron and the motor neuron. This small gap is called a synapse. And it's just a gap between neurons. Now, when the electrical impulse gets to the synapse, what happens is that chemicals diffuse across the synapse. These chemicals are sometimes referred to as neurotransmitters. When these chemicals diffuse across the synapse, they initiate an electrical impulse in the new neuron. So remember, these reflexes are designed to protect us from harm very, very quickly by bypassing the conscious part of the brain. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. Stay in touch for another video.